If you're over 60, every wrong move you make behind closed doors isn't just embarrassing. It's silently shrinking the blood vessels that keep you alive as a man. Each mistake you don't even realize you're making is slowly stealing your strength, your circulation, and even your independence. And by the time the signs appear, the damage is often permanent. I'm Dr. James, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping older gentlemen like you reclaim their strength, vitality, and confidence. After 3 decades in practice, I've seen firsthand how a few overlooked habits can quietly erode a man's quality of life, and how a few smart changes can restore it. You might think that something as natural and harmless as masturbation is always good for your body. But what if I told you that doing it the wrong way, especially after 60, could be silently draining your energy, damaging your blood vessels, and accelerating age-related decline? It's not about stopping, it's about doing it smarter. Today I'm going to reveal the 5 critical mistakes older men often make when it comes to masturbation. Mistakes that shrink blood vessels, weaken erections, and chip away at your masculinity over time. Once you understand these hidden traps, you'll be able to protect your vitality, boost your circulation, and enjoy life with greater confidence and strength. Stay with me, because mistake number 3 is something almost no doctor talks about. Yet it could make the difference between a life of strength or a slow, silent decline you'll regret. Let's dive in. Before we dive into the 5 crucial mistakes, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, so you never miss another life-changing health tip designed especially for men like you. And if you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If you feel it could be better, type 0. Your feedback helps me make this channel even stronger for you. Now that you understand just how much is at stake, let's get straight into the first hidden mistake. A mistake that silently weakens your blood vessels every time you make it without you even realizing it. Mistake 1. Rushing through it. Ignoring blood flow. Looking back over my 30 years working with men over 60, one of the most heartbreaking patterns I've seen is how often men regret the way they treated their bodies when they were younger. They didn't know. No one told them. And by the time the symptoms appeared, the damage was already deep. Rushing through self-pleasure is one of those silent mistakes. So common, yet so devastating over time, and most men never even realize it until it's too late. When you're younger, rushing might not seem like a big deal. You're full of energy, full of blood flow, full of youth. But as you age, everything inside you changes, especially your circulation. The small vessels that carry blood to the most important parts of your body become more fragile, more easily damaged. And here's the critical truth no one teaches you. Blood flow is everything. It's not just about pleasure, it's about nourishment. It's about oxygen. It's about life. Every time you rush, you deny your tissues the slow, steady wave of blood they need to stay healthy. You turn what should be a process of expansion and strengthening into a hurried mechanical act that barely stirs real circulation. You push your body toward release without allowing the necessary buildup that strengthens your vessels. Over time, this habit shrinks the tiny arteries that support your erections, your sensitivity, your ability to feel like a man. I've sat across from too many men, good, hard-working men, who told me with sadness in their eyes that they wish someone had told them this earlier, that they would have slowed down, that they would have honored their body's need for care, not just speed, that they would have understood that every rushed session, every skipped moment of true arousal was silently writing a story they couldn't erase. I remember one patient in particular, Robert, who came to see me at 72. He was still sharp, still full of life, but he noticed he wasn't himself anymore in the most private parts of his life. As we talked, he realized painfully that decades of rushing had taken a toll he couldn't undo. His blood vessels had narrowed, his response weakened. He looked at me and said, "Doc, if I had only known. If I had just slowed down back then, maybe things would be different today." That moment stayed with me, because Robert wasn't alone. He's every man who thinks he's saving time, not knowing he's losing much more than he can imagine. If there's one gift you can give yourself today, it's this: slow down. Treat self-pleasure not as a race, but as a sacred act of care for your body. Engage your senses. Breathe deeply. Allow arousal to build gradually. Let blood flow fully before any climax. You're not just chasing a release, you're investing in your future strength, your future vitality. You're honoring a part of you that deserves patience, attention, and respect. This is not about shame, it's about wisdom. It's about learning what no one ever bothered to teach you when you needed it most. And now that you know, you have the power to protect what remains, to rebuild what you can, and to ensure that 5, 10, even 15 years from now, you can look back without regret. Because believe me, in the quiet moments of reflection, it's not the times you slowed down that you'll regret. It's the times you rushed, thinking there would always be more time, more strength, more life ahead. Now, if you think rushing was dangerous, wait until you discover what happens when you unknowingly crush your blood vessels with the second most common mistake, a mistake even more damaging and even more overlooked. Let's keep going. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. Mistake 2. Using too much pressure or force. Out of all the mistakes I've seen older men make when it comes to their intimate health, this one is perhaps the most heartbreaking, because it seems so harmless at the time. It's the mistake of using too much pressure, too much force during self-pleasure. And the worst part is, most men don't even realize the damage they're causing until years, sometimes decades, later, when the signs become impossible to ignore. When you're younger, the body is more forgiving, the tissues are thicker, the blood vessels more resilient, the nerves able to withstand rough treatment. But after 60, everything becomes more fragile. The blood vessels that deliver life-giving circulation to your most vital areas thin out, the nerve endings become more delicate, and the elasticity that once absorbed heavy pressure begins to fade. What once felt harmless can, over time, quietly erode the very foundation of your strength as a man. Using a tight, forceful grip repeatedly creates micro-tears in the tissues. Small injuries that don't hurt in the moment but heal poorly, leaving behind tiny scars. Scar tissue doesn't stretch, it doesn't nourish, it blocks blood flow. And over the years, as that scar tissue builds up, you find yourself losing sensitivity, losing firmness, losing a vital part of yourself you never thought could slip away. I remember a man named Charles who sat across from me in my office struggling to understand why his body wasn't responding the way it used to. He was 68, proud, strong-willed, and deeply frustrated. As we talked, it became clear that years of unknowingly using excessive force had caught up with him. The damage was done. He looked at me, pain and regret in his voice, and said, "If someone had just told me, if I had just been a little more careful, maybe I wouldn't be here now, feeling half the man I used to be." That moment was heavy, and it stayed with me ever since. Because Charles wasn't reckless, he wasn't careless. He simply didn't know. No one ever told him that how he touched himself could shape his future in ways far beyond the bedroom. You see, self-pleasure is not just about release. It's about how you treat one of the most intricate and sensitive systems in your body. And the way you treat it, with respect or with roughness, decides whether it will continue to serve you with strength and vitality or slowly betray you over time. The solution is both simple and profound. Use a lighter touch. Approach yourself with the same care you would offer something priceless and irreplaceable, because that's exactly what your health is. Think of it as investing in your future with every single moment you spend. By being gentler, you encourage healthy blood flow, protect your nerve endings, and keep the spark of sensitivity alive well into your later years. It's a simple shift, but the impact is extraordinary. And once you understand it, it's impossible not to wish you had known it sooner. I've lost count of how many older men have told me they would trade anything to go back in time and do it differently. To be more mindful, more careful, more protective of the body that served them so well for so many years. But here's the good news. It's never too late to start. Healing begins with awareness. By changing how you approach your own body today, you can prevent further damage, preserve what remains, and even awaken sensations and strength you thought were lost forever. Now, if you thought too much pressure was damaging, wait until you discover the next silent mistake. A habit that seems completely harmless, but actually chokes off your blood vessels from the inside out. Few men recognize it until it's too late. Let's move forward and uncover it together. Mistake 3. Overdoing it. Ignoring the body's need for recovery. One of the most painful lessons I've seen men learn far too late is that sometimes too much of a good thing becomes a silent enemy. When it comes to masturbation, the myth that more is always better has done an incredible amount of damage, especially for men over 60. Overdoing it without understanding the body's need for rest and recovery is a mistake that strips away strength, energy, and vitality little by little until one day you wake up and realize something essential is missing, and it's not easy to get it back. When you're young, your body can bounce back from almost anything. Energy feels endless. Recovery is automatic. But as the decades pass, your body's ability to heal, to rebuild, and to restore itself naturally slows down. What once took hours now takes days. What once seemed harmless repetition becomes a slow, steady drain on the very systems you depend on for masculine vitality. Yet no one tells you that. No one warns you that after a certain point, frequency without recovery doesn't strengthen you. It slowly hollows you out. Masturbation is a form of exertion. Each time you reach climax, there's a significant hormonal shift inside your body. Prolactin levels spike, testosterone temporarily dips, and the vascular system enters a recovery phase. When you repeat this cycle too often, especially without giving your body time to restore, you weaken the very foundations that support blood flow, erection strength, and emotional energy. Instead of feeling invigorated, you start feeling depleted, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. I'll never forget a man named Henry who came to see me. He was 70, fit for his age, but confused and frustrated by his declining energy and performance. He told me he had always been active, believing that it was good for his health to continue as often as possible. But no one had ever explained to him that past a certain age, the body needs space, not constant demands. He said to me, with deep sadness in his voice, "If only someone had told me sooner that recovery mattered just as much as activity, maybe I wouldn't be feeling so empty now." That moment pierced me, because Henry's story isn't rare. It's the quiet story of thousands of older men who genuinely believed they were doing the right thing, only to realize far too late that their bodies had been begging for balance, not excess. If there's one thing I wish I could shout from the rooftops for every man over 60 to hear, it's this. Your body still wants to serve you, but only if you give it the respect it deserves. That means honoring its natural rhythms of activity and rest. It means seeing recovery not as weakness, but as wisdom. Giving your vascular system, your hormones, and your nervous system the time they need to rebuild after intimacy is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can offer. The best guideline I give my patients is simple. Aim for quality, not quantity. After 60, allowing yourself at least 48 hours, sometimes even 72, between sessions can make an extraordinary difference. Those rest days are not lost time. They are investment days. They are the moments your body uses to repair micro-damage, replenish testosterone, restore sensitivity, and reinforce the very strength you want to keep. Once you begin to honor this recovery cycle, you'll find something incredible happens. Instead of feeling drained, you'll feel renewed. Instead of wondering where your strength went, you'll feel it rising again inside you. Quietly, steadily, faithfully. And you'll wonder, as so many of my patients have, why no one ever taught you this truth when you were younger, when it could have saved you years of silent decline. But the beauty of wisdom is that it's never too late to use it. Right now, you have the opportunity to listen to your body, respect its deeper needs, and chart a new course for the years ahead. Stronger, more vibrant, and more alive than you thought possible. Now, if you think overdoing it was silently draining your strength, wait until you hear about the next mistake, a hidden habit that damages not just your body, but your very ability to feel pleasure itself. It's a trap too many men fall into without even realizing it. Let's move forward and reveal it together. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. Mistake 4. Neglecting sensitivity. Hurting yourself without knowing. Of all the quiet mistakes that rob older men of their vitality, neglecting sensitivity might be one of the most devastating because it doesn't announce itself with pain or warning. It slips in slowly, unnoticed at first, until one day you realize that what once brought deep pleasure now feels dull, muted, or even absent. And by the time most men recognize it, the damage has been silently carving away at them for years. Sensitivity is not just about feeling good. It's about maintaining the healthy connection between your brain, your nervous system, and your most intimate parts. Every pleasurable sensation you feel is a message, a living signal that your blood vessels are open, your nerves are firing properly, and your body is alive with vitality. But when you neglect sensitivity, when you take it for granted, or worse, when you unknowingly damage it, you begin to sever that precious connection little by little. I remember one man in particular, a patient named William, who came to me frustrated and heartbroken. He was 73, still full of spirit, but he told me that intimacy, something he had always cherished, now felt like going through the motions. The sensations he once loved had faded. He confessed that for decades he had thought it didn't matter how rough or rushed he was. He believed that as long as things worked, everything was fine. No one had ever warned him that sensitivity could be lost, or that careless habits could slowly numb the very heart of pleasure itself. Sitting across from him, hearing the sadness in his voice was one of those moments that stays with a doctor forever, because I could see it, the regret, the helplessness, the wish that he could turn back the clock and treat his body with the tenderness it had always deserved. The truth is, the nerves that carry sensation are delicate. They thrive on good circulation, gentle stimulation, and care. Over time, rough handling, repeated friction without adequate lubrication, and even neglect, such as ignoring signs of decreased blood flow, can cause micro-damage. This damage builds quietly, forming tiny scars that block sensation. It's a slow process, almost invisible at first, but its impact is profound. What begins as a small loss of feeling grows into a wide chasm where once there was connection and pleasure. The tragedy is that it's so preventable. If only more men knew earlier that sensitivity isn't a given. It's a gift, one that requires protection, nourishment, and respect. Every moment of intimacy, even alone, is an opportunity to nurture that gift, to use a lighter touch, to stay aware of the body's signals, to value pleasure not as something to be taken for granted, but as a vital sign of life itself. When you approach yourself with gentleness, when you prioritize sensation over speed, you are doing more than seeking pleasure. You are preserving it for the years to come. You are keeping your body's inner communication lines open and strong, and you are ensuring that intimacy remains a rich, meaningful part of your life well into your later years. I cannot count how many times I've heard men say, "If only someone had told me how important this was. If only I had treated myself with more care." It's one of the greatest hidden regrets aging men carry. Not the things they did, but the things they failed to protect when they still had the chance. But the beauty of the body is that it is never too late to start honoring it. Sensitivity can often be improved, circulation can be supported, and new habits can awaken parts of you that you thought were lost. It takes awareness, patience, and a willingness to relearn how to connect with yourself in a deeper, more respectful way. Now, if you think losing sensitivity is painful, wait until you hear about the final mistake. A silent habit that doesn't just harm your body, but slowly disconnects your mind and spirit from the very core of intimacy itself. What I'm about to share could be the missing piece that explains so much of what men over 60 quietly struggle with. Stay with me. Mistake 5. Mentally checking out, losing the mind-body connection. There's a mistake so subtle, so easy to fall into that most men don't even realize they're making it until the damage is already done. It's the habit of mentally checking out during moments of intimacy, losing the essential connection between the mind and the body. And though it might seem harmless at first, over time, it quietly erodes not just physical pleasure, but emotional strength, resilience, and the deep vitality that defines a man's experience of life. When you are young, passion often seems automatic. The mind is alive, the body responds eagerly, and the connection between sensation and emotion feels seamless. But after 60, things change. The body needs more encouragement. The nervous system needs more engagement. If you approach intimacy mechanically, without presence, you begin to weaken the very circuits that keep blood flowing, sensitivity sharp, and fulfillment deep. Without mental connection, the body doesn't respond the same way. It's as if the lights are on, but no one is home. I remember one patient in particular, Harold, who came to me frustrated beyond words. He was 74 and he told me he hadn't lost function completely, but he felt empty inside. He said it was like going through the motions without feeling truly alive anymore. As we talked, it became clear that years of treating intimacy as a task rather than a connection had slowly dulled not just his body but his spirit. If only I had stayed connected, he told me, his voice heavy with regret. If only I had understood how much the mind matters. Maybe things would be different now. Hearing Harold's story broke my heart because it was so preventable. So many men are never taught that intimacy is not just about mechanics. It's a relationship between the mind and the body. It requires attention, emotion, presence. When you disconnect mentally, when you focus only on the act and not the experience, you starve your body of the signals it needs to thrive. Blood flow diminishes, recovery slows, sensitivity dulls, and without realizing it, you begin to lose a vital part of yourself, not just physically, but emotionally too. The body craves engagement. Every touch, every breath, every heartbeat becomes richer, more powerful when the mind is fully present. Staying mentally connected during moments of intimacy isn't just about feeling good. It's about nourishing the nervous system, maintaining healthy blood vessel function, and reinforcing the deep pathways that sustain vitality throughout life. If there's one lesson I wish every man could learn before it's too late, it's this. Your mind is not separate from your body. They are partners. One cannot thrive without the other, and every time you bring your full awareness into the moment, every time you stay present, grateful, connected, you strengthen that partnership. You feed the parts of yourself that make you feel truly alive. The tragedy is that most men realize this only after the effects of disconnection have set in. They look back with sadness, wishing they had been more present, more appreciative, more aware of the gift that intimacy offers at every stage of life. But it doesn't have to end in regret. It's never too late to change how you show up for yourself. Even now, by choosing to reconnect, by bringing your mind back into your body, you can reignite parts of yourself that you thought were lost. It starts with simple acts. Slowing down, breathing deeply, focusing on sensation, allowing emotion to rise without judgment. These small choices rebuild the bridges that time, neglect, and habit may have worn thin. And in doing so, they restore not just physical pleasure, but emotional vitality, confidence, and joy. Now, as we prepare to wrap up, it's important to take a moment to step back and see the full picture. What if everything you've heard so far, all these mistakes and lessons, fit together like pieces of a much bigger puzzle? In the next section, we'll revisit the key insights and I'll share one final reflection that could change the way you approach your health, your vitality, and your future. Stay with me. You won't want to miss this. Recap and final reflection. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to take a moment to slow down with you, to breathe, and to truly reflect on what we've uncovered together. We are not just talking about mistakes in technique or simple habits. We are talking about years, sometimes decades, of unconscious patterns that have quietly shaped the way men experience their own strength, vitality, and pleasure in the later stages of life. And for many, the heartbreaking realization is that no one ever told them any of this when it could have made the biggest difference. We talked about the danger of rushing through moments of intimacy, of treating them like tasks to check off rather than opportunities to nourish blood flow and vitality. We explored the harm caused by excessive pressure and force, the way those small, repeated injuries accumulate silently until one day sensitivity is lost, seemingly for good. We uncovered the truth about overdoing it, pushing the body too hard without respecting the natural need for recovery and how that drains energy and erodes resilience over time. We looked at how neglecting sensitivity, dismissing it as unimportant, leads to an insidious loss of connection that men often don't recognize until it's too late. And finally, we confronted the cost of mentally checking out, how losing the mind-body connection slowly starves not just the body, but the spirit. Hearing these truths can stir up a lot of emotions. For many men, there is a wave of regret, anger, and sadness. I have seen it in their eyes, I have heard it in their voices. The deep wish that they had known earlier, that someone had taken the time to teach them these things before the damage was done, and I understand that feeling better than you know. Because the truth is, we live in a world that talks a lot about how to be strong, how to be tough, how to perform, but says almost nothing about how to care for ourselves with wisdom, with patience, and with true respect for the bodies that carry us through life. But here's the powerful truth you need to hold on to. It is never too late. No matter how many years have passed, no matter what mistakes have been made, the body is always ready to heal when given the right support. Circulation can improve. Sensitivity can awaken. Strength can be rebuilt. Confidence can return. But it all starts with awareness. It starts with choosing today to stop rushing, to treat yourself with a gentler touch, to honor your body's need for rest, to nurture your sensitivity, and to reconnect your mind and body as one. You have more power than you realize. Every choice you make from this day forward, to slow down, to breathe, to listen to your body, to stay present, is a choice to protect and even reclaim your vitality. It's a choice to live not just longer, but better. To experience more joy, more connection, more fulfillment in the years still ahead of you. I think back to so many men I have worked with, men who came to me burdened with regret but left with hope. Men who realized that by changing even small habits, they could change the trajectory of their future. I have seen men in their 70s and 80s rebuild strength they thought was gone forever. I have seen them rediscover pleasure, intimacy, and a sense of power they believed they had lost. And it all began with understanding the very things we've talked about today. So if you're hearing these words, know this: you are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not beyond help. You are standing at a crossroads right now, and you have the opportunity to choose a different path, one that honors your body, your spirit, and the incredible life you still have to live. Thank you for trusting me to walk this journey with you. Thank you for having the courage to face these truths head on. Now the next step is yours to take. Walk it with wisdom. Walk it with pride, and never forget, it's not just about living longer. It's about living stronger, deeper, and with more joy than you ever thought possible. Conclusion. As we reach the end of our time together, I want to leave you with something deeper than just information. I want to leave you with a sense of hope, a sense of strength, and a reminder that no matter where you are right now in your journey, change is still possible. Too many men reach their later years thinking that their best days are behind them, that vitality, passion, and strength are things of the past. But I'm here to tell you from my years of walking alongside men just like you that your future can be brighter than you imagine, if you are willing to take small, meaningful steps starting today. What we talked about today wasn't easy. These 5 mistakes are not minor issues. They are silent forces that shape the way you feel, the way you move, the way you experience life as a man. And the hardest truth is that many men carry the heavy burden of regret once they finally understand what has been lost. I have seen that regret in their eyes. I have heard it in their voices. And every time it reminds me why this conversation matters so much. Because if one man can hear these words today and make a different choice, to slow down, to stay present, to treat his body with the respect and care it deserves, then perhaps he can avoid the pain that so many others never had the chance to escape. You have the power right now to be that man, to honor your body not with shame, but with wisdom, to see every moment of care you give yourself as an investment in the life you still have ahead. To know that every decision you make, no matter how small, has the power to rebuild your strength, to restore your connection, to reignite the deep vitality that lives within you. It is never about being perfect. It is about being conscious, being present, choosing to act from a place of respect for the incredible design of your body and spirit. I hope you leave this conversation not with fear, but with a renewed sense of ownership over your future. Because your story is not over. There are still chapters waiting to be written, filled with strength, joy, connection, and pride. It starts with the simple, courageous decision to treat yourself like you matter. Because you do. More than you know. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey today. It has been an honor to share these lessons with you, drawn from the lives of so many men who walk this road before you. Now, the next steps are yours to take. Walk them wisely, walk them proudly, and never forget, the best is yet to come. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.